Okay, good morning. Make sure you read the screen, see what you're doing today. You will be showing your understanding of arrangement of the periodic table by completing the review. You should try to do the review without your notes first. Go through and answer the ones that you know. And then once you are finished answering the ones you know, you may get your workbook out and look up the answers you do not know.
Yes, sir.
You will have about 20 minutes to get as much of that done as you can. I will be walking around to help you.
Yes, sir.
If you don't get, as long as you're trying to do it, you will get 100 for participating. Before the class is over, we will go over those correct answers so that you have them to study for your exam, which is scheduled for tomorrow. Is there any questions about what you're doing today?
No, sir.
Okay, get busy. Okay, here we go. Number one. The periodic table is organized. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Periodic table is organized by valence electrons, shells, and by the number of protons, or the atomic number. Number two, the atomic number is the number of protons in the nucleus. Number three, the vertical columns are called groups, and the groups tell us the number of what? Valence electrons. The rows on the periodic table are called what? Periods. Number five, and the number of the period tells us the number of shells. Number seven, which chemical properties determines how elements will react with other elements, form compounds. It's reactivity. Number eight, which group tends to lose electrons? That's 1A and 2A. Which group tends to gain electrons? 6A and 7A. 10 and 11, please notice there's a star by those. Those are really important. Major part of your test is to know those two. So number 10, elements in a group have similar chemical properties or reactivity. Elements in a group, up and down, have similar reactivity. You know, just say that to yourself 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times tonight when you're studying, and you will remember it. It's very important. Okay, the number of valence electrons determines an element's chemical properties or reactivity. So group and valence electrons, up and down, chemical reactivity. Number 12, the most reactive metal on the periodic table are the alkali metals, and they're in group 1A. The least reactive elements on the periodic table are the noble gases, which are 8A. You need to know the groups by name. Group 1, alkali metals. Group 2, the alkaline earth metals. Groups 3 through 12, the transition metals. Group 13 or 3A is the boron family. Group 14 or 4A is the carbon family. Group 15 or 5A is the nitrogen family. Group 16 or 6A is the oxygen family. Group 17 is the halogens. And group 18 is the noble gases. You also need to know the number of valence electrons. What is the only one that you cannot determine the number of valence electrons? Which one of these can you not determine valence electrons? 3 through 12, the transition metals. Remember, those do not follow the rules. Okay? I personally don't know why.
They better be careful they're not following the rules.
They are not following the rules. Okay, next, you should be able to identify what specific elements on the periodic table are. For example, you should be able to tell whether they're a transition metal, a noble gas, an alkali metal, alkaline earth metal, halogens. So, for example, if I give you calcium, you need to know it's an alkali earth metal. You will get the periodic table, yes sir. Cesium, alkali metal. Fluorine is a halogen. Chromium is a transition metal. Oxygen wasn't any of those choices, so I wrote oxygen family. Xenon, or if you left it blank, that would have been okay. Xenon is a noble gas. Lithium, alkali metal. Neon, a noble gas. Questions about page 1? If you went through and were able to answer a bunch of those without studying, well then you should do fine on the test. If you couldn't, to do fine on the test, you're going to have to go home and do some studying. Okay? Okay, on the back. Number 31 through 34, please notice I put a star next to it again. This is about reactivity. One of the most important things we should learn in this unit. Remember that reactivity has to do with the column, or the group, up and down. So you have to look for elements that are in the same column. On number 31, lithium, sodium, and magnesium, the ones that are in the same column are lithium and sodium. And therefore they have the same reactivity. 32, fluorine and bromine are in the same column. 33, phosphorus and acetylene are in the same column. 34, radium and barium are in the same column. I didn't mix those up too well, did I? I think I forgot. I was typing them. Then I forgot. Okay, so remember, if you hear reactivity, you should think group, column, okay? Valence electrons. Okay, identify the characteristics of metals, nonmetals. The metals, of course, have luster. They're good conductors. They have high density. They're malleable and ductile. This you began learning way back in
RE.
Sixth grade. You did a lot of it, and this you did some experiments with it. Non-metals, dull. That means they have no luster. Poor conductors, low density, and they're brittle. Then I can give you any element on the periodic table, and you should be able to tell me whether it's a metal, non-metal, or metalloid. For example, fluorine is a non-metal. Remember, if it's on the stair, it's a metalloid. If it's to the right, it's a non-metal. If it's to the left, it's a metal. Germanium is on the stair, so it's a metalloid. Zinc, metal. Phosphorus, non-metal. Okay, 48 through 51. These are the types of questions that are on the STAR test, so I do include them on my unit test. Which element is an alkali metal which has 4 energy levels? And that would be potassium. For those of you who do not remember how to do that, I'm going to show you real quick. We are an alkali metal with 4 energy shells. Here is the energy shell right here, 4. And then we just have to go to the alkali metals, and that's group 1. So it is potassium right there. The next one, what element is in the carbon group with 6 energy levels? You go to the 6 energy levels here, you go across until you get to the carbon group, and there's the carbon group, which is the top one here, carbon. You go down to the 6 energy levels and you see it's lead. 50 is calcium, and 51 chlorine, using the same principle. Okay, it says draw a Bohr model and list that diagram of boron. Be able to do this for any element from 1 to 18 on the periodic table. You have to do 8-man. Atomic number for boron is 5. That means the protons and electrons are also what? 5. Remember, those are always equal. The mass number comes from where? The periodic table. It's 11. To get the neutrons, what math function do you have to do? You have to subtract. So 11 minus 5 is 6. It's in, boron is in 3A. So how many valence electrons does it have? So you write P equals 5, N equals 6. The first shell can have how many electrons? 2. We needed 5, so there was 3 in the outer shell. Please notice, what does it say at the very bottom of the sheet?
Information for the to also be included on the report.
There will be a density problem. Until at least 75% you can do a density problem, I'm going to continue adding them to the test. Okay? Not 75% is, oh God, density problems right on the last test. Okay, so try the density problem so we don't have to have time to put them on there anymore. The math is really easy on these. There's 2 of them. I made it really easy. There's not even a decimal.
Yay!
We have to divide, but there's no decimal. Okay, I made them easy. I need to see you do it. Please. Any questions? Okay. Most of you will have some free time here. Armani and Juan, I have a test that you need to retake? A little quiz that you missed, so you're going to do it right now. We have free time.
I think that
They used to be based.